All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rachak, Wadash. Their ones to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone I rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad throughout the earth. Now, I couldn't wait to get back home to address this, do a response to this video. I was watching this earlier. I was listening while I was at work. And man, oh man, Vocab, he was looking pretty bad, He looked, stressed out, especially when they started to deal with Isaiah the 60th chapter in reference to the nation serving Israel, in which, Vocab, he opposes, the argument that is talking about people, which as if, nations are not a collective of people. But, I just knew, the way things were going that, I was going to basically respond. I'm pretty sure maybe a few other brothers are going to respond. But anyway, I'm going to just get straight to it. And then, I'm going to, skip through some parts and pause it and make my response. And Lord willing, y'all be edified. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
She's a nobody. She's joining forces with the devil.
Embrace a day where you want to slit someone's throat, and you're going to tell me you have the fruit of the Spirit? Come on.
But now when you talk about slitting of the throat, you must be talking about white people now.
No. I'm not vague. I'm talking about you specifically saying in the kingdom, if you don't give me 50,
that's what I'm talking about.
This is what's going to happen. No, that's Africans, that's Asians. I didn't mention white people. That's everybody you think you're going to be.
Okay, that's anybody that's not. All I'm saying is that's anybody that's not an Israelite. I do believe that. I do agree with that. The scriptures say the nation.
You have murder in your heart because you're saying you're going to kill someone for not doing 50 push-ups. Just like
It's not murder. It's not murder. The commandments say murder. Thou shalt not kill, which is murder. When the Lord told us the Israelites, to utterly slay the Canaanites, 7 families, 7 tribes of the Canaanites, in Deuteronomy chapter 7, that was not murder, that was killing. When David slew Goliath, that was not murder, that was killing.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference between a righteous kill and a murder. All right, a murder is when you premeditate putting someone to death for an unjust reason or unjust cause. All right, there's certain laws where a killing is justified, and then there's laws where the killing isn't justified. All right, so when King David and Joab went into the land of Edom, they wasn't in there committing murder, it was slayings, they were killings. All right. Because during the time of David's reign, he had several battles with these different nations that were neighboring countries, right? And he defeated them and he put them in subjection. And that was what needed to be done in order for Solomon to have those 40 years of peace, because all the nations were subdued at that point. They had to submit themselves to the reign of Judah under the king. All right. So let's keep going.
When David set up Uriah the Hittite to get him to put to death, that was murder. He set him up to be killed, so that was murder. He set him up there knowing in the front line, knowing that he wasn't going to last long, so he can continue to sleep with Bathsheba.
Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip forward because I want to get to the part where they started going to Isaiah the 60th chapter.
said I was randomly killing anybody, first of all.
Can you
And
kill a
second of all,
slave
the
for not
scripture
doing what
say-
you say? Is that in the Old
the
Testament?
scripture
Yeah, that's Isaiah chapter 60.
say, the scriptures say in Isaiah the 60th chapter that the nation that will not serve shall be destroyed. Does it not?
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people.
Oh, you saw that? That body language, man.
Yeah, he looked stressed right there. That response, you know, the way that little sigh, that little pause before he got to respond. He looked stressed. Like, I don't want to deal with this. It stresses you out, the idea of knowing that this is your fate, this is your future. Because it is prophetic. It has not been fulfilled yet. Right? So let's let me rewind it.
Killing anybody, first of all.
Can you
And
kill a
second of all,
slave
the
for not
scripture
doing what you say? Is that in the Old
the
Testament?
scripture
Yeah, that's Isaiah chapter 60.
say, the scriptures say in Isaiah the 60th chapter that the nation that will not serve shall be destroyed. Does it not?
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people.
Oh, you saw that? That body language, man. He's like, oh no. Let me bring that back.
Be destroyed. Does it not?
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people.
Destroyed. Does it not?
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people. This
Does it
Man,
not?
stress the F out.
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people. This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people.
Be destroyed. Does it not?
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people. This
Yeah, it's a very uneasy subject for him because he knows if what we're saying is the truth, he's on the opposite end of that particular prophecy is not good. So that's why he was so stressed, you know, when he heard that. And then turn around and deny that it's actually dealing with people who will not serve the Most High and his people in his kingdom. So this dude is in denial. He's denying what the prophecy said. The scriptures say, despise not prophesying. Does it not say that? Isaiah was making a prophecy. All right, these nations, if they will not serve, they will perish. Matter of fact, let's real quick. Let's go to Zechariah real quick. Because not only are you going to serve us, but these nations are going to have to keep our high holy days as well. And this is what the prophecies say will happen if they don't do it. This is Zechariah 14:16, and it says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, right? The Lord of hosts. You're going to worship the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. We know that these nations don't keep the Feast of Tabernacles. That's our high holy day. But once the kingdom is established, you know, the world come up under the reign of Yahushua and the Israelites, you're going to keep our high holy days. You're going to keep our feast days because the law is going to go forth out of Zion. It's going to be enforced in the world. That's how the world's going to be governed, by the law, statutes, and commandments, not by Esau's policies and penal codes and his constitution and none of that. It says, and it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. In other words, you're going to perish because if you don't get no rain, that means you get no food. You get no growth. All right. No vegetation, no crops. You do not get any type of fatness. All right. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. So this is just one example, proving the prophecy in Isaiah, all right, that if the nations don't serve, they will perish. But see, when you go into prophecy, this is why they can't really deal. They don't like to deal in prophecy. But like the scriptures say, to the law and to the testimony is the spirit of prophecy. If they speak not according to this word, the law and the prophets, is because there's no light in them. There ain't no light in vocab, man. All right, he's just wise in his own conceit because he went to a theological seminary. So he already have that heady, high-minded, proud, arrogant attitude with the scriptures. Plus, you know, he's on the Edomite side. He's one of them. So they already have that attitude. Even when they don't know something, if you say you know it, he gonna automatically say, no, you don't know it, or you're wrong. He recently did that to Elder Yashawamba, man, on one of his videos. How you gonna say you still studying, you still trying to figure something out, but then when we come with an answer, you could be the one to dictate if it's wrong or not. So this devil, he's full of it, man. So anyway, let's go from there and let's deal with King David. Because what did these nations do, or have to do, when King David sat on the throne? This is 2 Samuel 8 and verse, I'll start at 4. It says, and David took from him 1,000 chariots and 700 horsemen and 20,000 footmen, and David huffed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them for 100 chariots. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadadezer, king of Zobah, David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants to David and brought gifts. So that means that they served King David. You don't think that this is going to happen in the kingdom? All these nations are going to be servants to the Lord and his men, those who's going to be joint heirs with him, because we're going to be kings as well, kings and priests. And that's and I can pull several precepts on that. It says, and the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem, and from Betah and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, King David took exceeding much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and smitten him. For Hadadezer had wars with Toi. And Joram brought with him the vessels of silver and vessels of gold and vessels of brass. And this is kind of like a foreshadowing of when the Lord establishes the kingdom, and how he's going to keep the gates open so that the heathen, the Gentiles, can bring their riches, their forces into it. This was just like a sneak preview of what was to come. So they're going to bring their riches to us, and they're going to serve us. And the kingdom of Judah under David and Solomon, that was like a sneak preview into that. So what is Vocab talking about? He's just denying prophecy because he knows where he will fall under that prophecy if he accepted that he's not an Israelite, that we're the Israelites, and that he's an Edomite. As a matter of fact, we're going to get to Edom, because the Edomites, they were forced to serve too. Verse 11, it says, which also King David did dedicate unto the Lord with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued, of Syria and of Moab and of the children of Ammon and of the Philistines and of Amalek and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rahab, king of Zobah. And David gat him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And he put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom, he garrisons. He put them embassies over there because he took possession of Edom during his reign. Over Edom will I cast my shoe, right? And all they of Edom became David's servants. And the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. So those are nations of people, all right, that served the king, King David. He tried to say that's not talking about people. So this dude, he can't help himself. He's a straight up liar, man. But let's keep going.
Does it not?
This is not talking
Yes or
about
no?
people.
This guy's not a happy camper, and she don't know what the hell's going on. This blockhead has no idea what's going on. That's why 2/3 of our people are going to die.
As a matter of fact, hold on. Does that not coincide with the blessing where Isaac actually blessed Jacob, where he basically told him that not only are you going to get the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven and the corn and the wine, but that also the nations are going to serve you and bow to you. Is that not in the blessing? Let's go to that. What is this dude Vocab talking about? That prophecy of Isaiah is really a fulfillment of the blessing that Jacob was going to receive anyway, pursuant to the blessing that was given to him through Isaac. Genesis 27 and it was around 27, 26. It is Genesis 27 and 26. It says, and his father Isaac said unto him, come near me and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is the smell of a field which the Lord hath blessed. Therefore the Most High Power give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth, that's the resources, the riches, and plenty of corn and wine. So you have abundance in your yan, all right, grain, food. And this is the Fertile Crescent, right? It says, let people serve thee, people. And according to Isaiah 60, if you don't do that, you will perish. You won't come up. If you don't come up to keep certain feasts, you ain't going to get no rain. Right? It says, let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Now, did Jacob receive any of this when he was on the scene? Was nations bowing down to him? Did he have a bunch of slaves? Jacob, he worked, for a good portion of his life, and he came out with abundance. He even had a run-in with Esau, and even gave Esau he tried to gift him with some of his cattle that he received through all that labor he put in under Laban. So obviously this is going to be fulfilled in his the seeds after him. All right, the 12 sons, which became the 12 tribes of Israel. So this blessing was going to bestow upon the children of Israel. All right. It says, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Who was thy mother's son? Who was Jacob's brother? Who was the elder that shall serve the younger? The Edomites. And a portion of that was fulfilled under the time of David, but of course they revolted because, you know, King David, he committed sin. Then Solomon came, then he committed sin, and then the kingdom got split. Then, you know, the kings, you know, they started being wicked and serving other gods and burning the incense to demons. And the Lord got pissed, and we already know the rest. The curses had to come. And so that yoke was broke off of Esau's neck, and Esau, you know, did him. And then he started coming with vengeance every time we were carried captive. Every time the Lord rose up a nation to come against us, Esau would be right there. So we haven't fully experienced, you know, a thorough reign where we're constantly ruling over our mother's sons, all right? The Edomites. It says, cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So this is more evidence to Isaiah 60 and 12, implying that people are going to serve the Israelites, and if they don't, you perish. So let's get back into it.
And we're going to celebrate that. The clock is ticking. Vocab. The clock, that's a topic. The clock is ticking. Vocab alone. The clock is ticking. We're going.
Yep, and like it says in Revelation 12, you know that you have but a short time. The clock is definitely ticking. All right, you ain't got a lot of time left. So let me what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip a little further because he makes another failed point. Right. Let's skip forward.
Your whole premise of your question is totally incorrect. But here's what I'm asking.
Can I read the verse? Can I read the scripture?
Why would you threaten to slit someone's throat who won't give you push-ups?
Can I read?
Skip.
A devil does things.
Oh, wait. A devil doesn't speak. The father of lies who tempted Eve in the garden doesn't just...
They call Jesus Yahushua. He coming back to beat you down too. Psalms 8. Psalms 2 and 8.
You didn't hear what I said. I said Jesus. Jesus is
not mentioned. Jesus is not mentioned in this verse.
Well, it says that he's coming to take the kingdom. Right after he subdued the nations, who's that rock, that stone that's cut without hands? That's going to break in pieces the toes of the final beast. Revelation 19, where it says that he's coming to judge and make war. Against who? The nations. And Edom is included in that. They're the main ones on the Lord's hit list. Isaiah the 63rd chapter proves that.
And see, that's where you're missing out.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee.
Yeah, okay.
If you go up to verse 10, it says the sons of the...
Jesus is coming to kill ass. Which is Yahushua.
Strangers shall build up thy walls. Now we got people building up the walls.
Well,
right, and it says that they're... matter of fact, let's go to that. I'm glad Tazaryak stayed on him when it came to that. Like he didn't let him move the goalposts without making all the points that needed to be made. All right, because you read up above, it gives you the context of who it is that they're going to be serving. Isaiah 60 and 10, it says, and the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their king shall minister unto thee. What is another term for minister? Serve. For in my wrath I smote thee. Who did he smite? His people, Israel. He sent the sword after us. He allowed these nations to do what they did. But the Lord said he was going to have mercy upon us. All right, but so in Isaiah the 14th chapter, he said he would choose Jacob and have mercy upon Israel and set them in their land. All right. And what are we going to do with these nations? We're going to take them and possess them in our land for bondmaids, bondmen, and bondwomen. And we shall rule over our oppressors. We shall take them captive who captives we were, and we shall rule over our oppressors. That's what this is going into. So it says, for in my wrath I smote thee. The Lord was not going to chide with his people forever. He was not going to cast away his people. But the Lord had some anger for us, which is why he casted us out of the land and scattered us. But now the mercy is through our Lord and Savior, Yahushai. We now have grace, and now we get to return and be reconciled back to the Father. And now we're getting ready to get delivered and be brought back to the land. It says, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be opened continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. All right, and they're going to serve us. I think it's in Isaiah the 42nd or 3rd chapter, how it talks about how kings shall be your ministers, meaning they're going to serve you. And let me get it. Or is it Isaiah 40? I think it's Isaiah 49. Let me go to Isaiah 49. Yep, Isaiah 49 and 23, and it says, and kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their face toward the earth, and lick up the dust of thy feet. And thou shalt know that I am the Lord, for they shall not be ashamed that wait for me. All right. So that's what's going to happen. You're going to serve the children of Israel. So let's get back into it.
They're going to be building up our walls, and if they don't want to do it, they get beat the shit out of. And they still don't want to do it, they get beat to death.
Well, you have that interpretation, and you can believe that because that's what you want to do in the future is cut people's throats for not doing push-ups.
No. But in that video that you played with Tommy G, which I thought was an excellent video, I don't see how us reading the scriptures, reading judgment, and how we're wrong for the judgment. In Revelation the 18th chapter, when it says reward her double as she has done to you, there is a nation. You ain't got to agree that it's white people, but there is a nation that is going to be rewarded double. Yes or no?
No, that's not how it works. It works on if you are in Christ or not. So all of ISUPK, for example, will be judged by Christ and go to heaven unless you repent.
There's no such thing as hell, clown.
Talking about what I'm talking about is in Revelation.
It's not based upon.
Hear what I'm saying.
Revelation is not written against America. No, so I don't agree.
Because you don't understand prophecy, man. You don't.
Yeah, yeah, you have no idea, man. You know, the spirit was not given to you. That's why you would make that statement. You know, you don't believe America is nowhere in the Bible. The biggest empire in the world will not be written in the Bible. That's because you don't have understanding. Anyway, let's I'm not going to even go into that.
I don't understand prophecy
At all.
Revelation has nothing to do with America. What do you think Revelation chapter 18 is all about? What do you think that the whores represents? Huh?
I didn't say it was America. I said
none of you Christians understand the prophecies. Not a one.
Even if it's not white people,
no, I didn't.
There's a nation that.
Why are you saying white people?
Can I just jump in here?
Because that's our position.
Yeah, but that's not even.
No, you can't jump in here. Shut the fuck up.
In a nation, but go ahead. Yeah, I think she's got to leave in a second, so she might want to say something. Yeah, go.
Just leave. I don't want to hear what you got to say.
Right, she had no business at all. She don't. It show you that they don't even respect none of the new. They harp on the New Testament, and they don't even respect some of the writings in the New Testament. Because if they did, she wouldn't even be up there. Show you our women are totally out of order. But she's only doing this to assist her massa. You know? This the classic Eve and the serpent, you know? This is what they do. Classic collaboration.
No, I'm I will let you two continue. But thanks for having me on. Next.
Let me forward this some more because I want to get into the other argument where he tries to pull that whole neighbor card that love your enemies. This typical Christian cliche.
Allowing him to do that. That was
Talk about.
Money signs, street.
No, I am. So when Tommy G and Commander Jenny Hanna was talking, well, another part was when the brother said, "What happens if we love you? What would that do for black people?" That's what he asked Tommy. Mm-hmm. And so Tommy is like, "Well, I think it's good for all of us to love each other." And so our position is that black people have loved white people forever. Like ISUPK is a minority. We're not the majority. Majority of black people genuinely try to get along with white people.
You gotta pay for what your forefathers did. What you came back as you are your forefathers reincarnated.
People fit in
Isaiah 14:21.
their system, fit in their government, fit in their society. And it's always we're in.
The
Enemies are talking about the enemies.
Let me back it up.
He's not a believer, so he's not going to give a theologically robust answer. Here's what it should have been.
That wasn't a scriptural question.
I know, but here's what it's all about. That's obeying Christ. Because if you view this nation as your enemy, Christ says to love your enemy in Matthew 5. So the question is not, how does this better the
Enemies are talking about the enemies of your people, not the Romans.
Now, what's interesting? Why doesn't he take that same approach and apply it to those Zionists over there that's doing all that slaughtering, all that murdering in the name of their Greater Israel project? Why don't he apply this same principle? Why does, we have to love our neighbor when it comes to the so-called white man or whoever else? But why don't those people over there, why don't they get to apply that same principle? You just see the hypocrisy. He won't denounce what they're doing over there. He actually condoned it. He months ago, all right, we know what his stance is when it comes to what they're doing over there, right? But he went out and applied this principle with them. Those Palestinians are supposed to be their neighbor, right? Them people over there in Gaza, they were supposed to be their neighbors, right? So why aren't they loving their neighbor? Why aren't they loving their enemy? See, now we go back to Isaiah 60, where he's saying that it's not talking about what we're saying it's talking about. Let Satan Yahoo break it down the same way and apply it towards all these goyim, if you will. Vocab wouldn't have nothing to say about it. He would not correct them on how he's using the prophecy, like the other prophecies or the other scriptures that Satan Yahoo misused for their agenda. He ain't came out and renounced anything. So this man he's full of shit, man. He has no problem with them doing what they're doing. And if Satan Yahoo was to use the same prophecy, if you goyim don't serve us, if you don't give up your land to us, if you don't let us rule over you, if you don't accept our Zionist New World Order, then you should perish. Isaiah 60:12. He wouldn't have nothing to say, man. But because it's us, though, it doesn't mean that. So Vocab, you full of shit, man, and that's why we stay on your neck. All right.
people that I have my eyes on that I most care about? The question is, how does this please my master, Jesus Christ? That's what UPK's problem is.
But they wasn't having a biblical conversation,
but a man of God, that's how he would answer. Not in something about whips and change and financial status or anything like that, social improvement on this temporal earth with this temporal kingdom. The issue is,
that's because you haven't been through oppression.
No. It's
you haven't been enslaved, and you're not the descendants of slaves to understand oppression.
No, that's not why. That's a cheap shot. The reason is because Here's the reason why. Because I love Jesus and want to please him. When have I
Yeah, we hate Jesus.
Ever heard Johanna talking about pleasing his master Jesus Christ? Never. I just hear him bragging
That's
about
what he
his
said in
status.
that video.
Let me forward it a little bit. So he already used Matthew 5, where it talks about love your enemies, and he's going to further elaborate. Let's forward to it.
Let me explain to you wait, first of all, what you did was you windmilled off of the MLK question, and you windmilled
Wait. You didn't ask me nothing about MLK.
I did.
No, you
I
just-
said to you,
No.
I said black people, I said we're the minority. We're the minority. We're the only ones that really go out there and talk about this whole hate thing. I said majority of black people love America, try to fit in America, try to join America.
What
And Martin
does
Luther
this
King
have to
is
do?
an example because they unalived him. And then you went over that statement
To talk
and then
about
went
Jesus'
to, then I brought
commands.
up
To talk about
Once
Jesus'
again,
commands. I'm
right.
not windmilling. Hold on, just to understand what's happening. I'm not windmilling away from it, Tazark. This is just you slurring.
Well, you didn't even hear it, so you couldn't have been listening.
Yes. What I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. I feel like it's clear. I'm saying the whole discussion is wrong because you're not theological men who are intent on pleasing Jesus.
We're not theological talking
So
about.
do you love?
The
I
enemy that Christ was
already
talking-
know. I know what you're saying. So that's why I'm asking you
Okay,
these questions.
okay, if you're
So
just
do
going to
you-
interrupt
do
the
you-
question,
do you
why
love
are you gonna,
Tommy?
why, if
do
you're
you
going to
love-
interrupt the answer?
Do you love Tommy G?
No, I don't have to love
Okay.
Tommy G.
So watch this. I just asked you, do you love your enemies? And you said yes. And I said, do you love
And I
Tommy
said
G?
yes,
And you said
according,
no.
that's according to Christ. Right, and so now let me answer without being interrupted.
Yeah,
In
you
Matthew,
said
the 5th
right.
chapter, the enemy was Israel against Israel. The enemy wasn't Israel against the white man.
Can't find it.
It
Doesn't
wasn't
say
that.
Doesn't say that. Where's that in
No
the text?
problem. So all anybody got to do is read Leviticus when it talks about thou shalt not hate thy neighbor. That's talking about a fellow Israelite. When Christ came on the scene, the children of Israel wasn't.
All he had to do was go to it. All you got to do is go to it. So let's go to the law, where it tells you who your neighbor is and who you are not to hate. Leviticus 19 and 16, and it says, thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, but thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. And you can't get around that. All right, because your brother is talking about the children of thy people. All right. And matter of fact, when Yahushua was actually speaking, when he gave his sermon, he was speaking amongst his disciples. All right. When it was asked, when they went to seek him, his parents was trying to seek him, and they told him, your parents are looking for you. And he said, who is my mother, and who is my brother, who is my sister? They who do the will of my Father, the same as my mother, my brother, my sister. All right. So he even narrowed it down to those who are believers. All right. Anyway, this is Matthew 5, and all you have to do is jump to the top of the chapter so you can understand who the audience was when he brought these principles, to the forefront when he was, teaching this sermon. Matthew 5:1, it says, and seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, then he began to go into his sermon. So you see here, it was his disciples that he was actually teaching. All right. And he was teaching them how to deal with certain affairs, whether it be relationships, marriage and divorce, how to deal with your brother. He was teaching them these protocols. This is how we are to be amongst each other, so that our people, when they see this behavior, they can see that you really are the salt of the earth. You really are the lights that shine amongst this crooked and perverse generation that's still in darkness. That's what this whole chapter is about. All right. Basically, it was like a separation being made. Your behavior is to be different than the rest of our nation. All right. So let's keep going. Let's go down to the point now. Because he's teaching them how to deal. All right. This is how you ought to conduct yourself. All right. You're the salt of the earth. You have the wisdom. You have the faith. You have the right conduct that I'm teaching you. You're going to be forth that example amongst those. All right. And they won't have anything evil to say about you. All right. You're going to be blameless if you follow these principles. All right. Let me jump down. Talking about whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. You know, that's dealing with, bearing grudges, like the law says not to do. Don't bear any grudge against your brother, right? Let's jump down. And dealing with marriage, offenses. And then down here, this is when he started to lay it upon them. You have heard that it had, in this verse 43, you have heard that it had been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Is Satan Yahoo and in the IDF, are they applying this principle over there in the land? Are they doing that currently? They're killing UN peacekeepers that's trying to feed those that are seeking asylum. Refugees. They're bombing whoever that gets in their way. They ain't showing no love to nobody. But you're not going to scrutinize them and criticize what they're doing and use these same principles. This only apply to us. So you expose your hand, Vocab, every time you get into these back and forths, man. It says, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you. An example of this would be King David versus Saul. All right, King David, he respected Saul, even though Saul was trying to murder the man. He had to drop on Saul at certain times and didn't do it because he knew that the Lord was still dealing with him because he was king. He was still the Lord's anointed. That would be that example. Love your enemies and bless them that curse you. He didn't kill Shimei when he cursed him, called him a bloody man. He didn't do anything. He took everything on the chin. So that's an example of loving your enemies, because you have enemies among your own. Yahushua, as he was getting ready to give up the ghost, has said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And you have some people that was in the crowd who later on they acknowledged that he was the son of the Most High and they repented. They were enemies at that time. They were enemies of the cross. Bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. This is all talking about amongst our people. This ain't talking about the enemies that you read about in Psalms, the 83rd chapter. These nations, they're your enemies making a tumult, that conspired with each other. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more remembrance. And then they give you a list of the nations: Edom, Amalek, Moab. They all are listed there. That's not, so when Yahushua was speaking of love your enemies, he wasn't talking about that. We always had actual adversaries, enemies. And the Most High is going to come and he's going to destroy his enemies. He's going to come and bring vengeance upon his enemies. What are you talking about? The Lord still hates Esau to this day. You can't make that change. So why would the Lord have us love who he hates? So, once again, he has to, flip the scriptures for his own agenda. Which Christianity this whole entire time has been an agenda to keep you Israelites, stuck in a dark place. But we're breaking down them strongholds so you can actually see. And some of our people, they're going to continue to be blinded, and some of them are going to be able to see. Peradventure, the Lord recover them from the snare of the devil. All right. So we know what this is talking about. All right. You have heard that it have been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. Your neighbor is talking about your fellow Israelite. That's your neighbor. And hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies. That's talking about an Israelite that can be an enemy to you. King David had Israelite enemies, and he didn't immediately act upon in a vengeful manner towards certain people. King David would say, well, let the Most High be the judge between me and thee. So you can't use this example. All right. And once again, you're wrong. And I guarantee you, there's not one video where you're using the same principle, all right, that Yahushua was teaching his disciples. You're not going to use that towards those Zionists over there, because you're a hypocrite. So I'm gonna end the lesson right there, and Lord willing, y'all will edify. I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and until the next one, Shalom.